the agents that can use AI well will win the new era. And that means using AI well to do the things that AI can do, to free you up to do the things that AI can't do. And so what I see as the can't do's is the building relationships and having real empathy with your clients. If AI can free you up to do more of that, then I think that's how you win. I'm failing to see how sort of having an AI to make all your calls and things like that, I think it's all a bit of a race to trust, really. Like trust has always been the main currency in real estate. And now we've got to worry about this AI that's sort of calling 50 people at a time. But what if you got the AI to sort of handle the back end, the email, the accounting, the helping you with strategy, things like that?
Welcome back to the Property Management Podcast. Thank you so much for having me in your ears. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're constantly juggling a million tasks? Yes, I know you have. I know I've been a property manager just like you. And often we're running on caffeine and chaos. But yet things are still falling apart, we're falling behind. We just can't seem to keep up. That was me not too long ago. But here's what I've learned. Working harder does not always lead to better results. Working smarter, that's where the real magic happens. And AI is one of the most powerful tools we have to help us make that shift from working harder to working smarter. And that's why I'm so excited about today's episode with my guest, the amazing Samantha Mclean, writer, podcast host, and AI enthusiast, and the brilliant brains behind Elite Agent. Sam's been at the forefront of real estate innovation for years, helping agents boost efficiency, win more listings, and stay relevant in an industry that's changing fast. Together, we're diving into AI-powered productivity and how to use it to get your time, energy, and sanity back. We're going to cover off on some of the topics like the truth about AI in real estate. We're breaking down what AI actually is and, more importantly, what it's not. It's not here to replace you. It's here to enhance your strengths and take the grunt work off your plate. Sam shares how the agents who are embracing AI are saving hours every single week, time that they can now spend on higher value work like building relationships and growing their business. We're also going to talk about some practical tools that real agents are using daily, from AI writing assistants that help you pump out listing descriptions in minutes, to smart scheduling tools, chatbots, and CRMs that streamline client communication. Sam walks us through what's working in the real world with real examples of agents that are already reaping the benefits. We're going to talk about how to use AI to win more listings and stand out. In a market where everyone's fighting for attention, AI can help you move faster, personalize better, and show up consistently across all of your marketing channels. Sam shares stories of agents using AI to automate social media, write newsletters, and craft winning listing proposals, all while maintaining their unique voice and brand. Here's the kicker. Ignoring AI does not make it go away. And Samantha doesn't hold back on this one. She shares insights on how agents who are resisting change are already falling behind, spending too much time on repetitive tasks, missing opportunities, and struggling to compete with those who've embraced the shift. If you're feeling overwhelmed about AI, you're not alone. And Sam also gets it. She shares her own journey of diving into AI and offers simple, beginner-friendly ways to start experimenting today. No tech degree required, just curiosity, a willingness to try, and a focus on freeing up your time. This episode is about reclaiming your time, not adding more to your plate. It's about using smart tools to do the heavy lifting so that you can do what you do best: lead, serve, and grow. So whether you're AI curious or AI cautious, I promise this conversation will leave you feeling empowered, inspired, and ready to take the next step towards working smarter, not harder. Sam, welcome to the Property Management Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Before we dive in, can you share with our audience a little bit about yourself and how you got started doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Kylie. I am the editor of Elite Agent. It's a pretty well documented story how I got here. I used to have a background in the corporate world, but ended up working for a magazine as my second job and loved it so much I stayed. There's the short answer.
And then how have you got into this whole world of AI? Because I do believe you had a tech background originally in the corporate world. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So I was a bit of a nerd when I started work. Like I was right on I guess, on the cusp of technology of the internet and things like that when it first came along. So I was responsible for the transformation of a medium-sized accounting firm to get computers on their desks. And they were like compact 286 computers, which was huge technology in the 90s. And we got the partners off sending paper memos and started them using this wondrous tool called email. So, I'm that old.
Well, I've got a very similar backstory to you. I wasn't in technology, but I was working for an accounting firm in Hong Kong in the 90s. And I had to have the conversation with the CEO and the partners of the firm on why we needed emails, what the World Wide Web was. So I have a very similar story in terms of, taking a company into the internet age. So yeah, it's crazy how far we've come from having those conversations to now stepping into the AI age.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like I can remember way back then, it was a massive decision financially, it was a massive decision to put computers on every person's desk. It was probably about a $3,000 or $4,000 decision per accountant with no idea of what the ROI were going to be. And these days, it's $20 a month for Chat GPT. So when you think about it, it's amazing. The barriers have completely dropped.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a given now that if you don't have that sort of technology, you haven't embraced technology. Although you would be surprised how many businesses that I have worked with that still do handwritten reports, inspection reports. There is still some out there, which is absolutely crazy. That still goes on.
Yeah, I think a handwritten inspection report's probably a little crazy, but I still believe in the handwritten note.
Yes, that is a nice personalized touch. Absolutely. So let's talk about then for business owners, property managers, real estate agents in general, what are the tools we should be 100% using now to take care of some of the heavy lifting and help us to boost our productivity?
Yeah, well, I think in communication, I think using a large language model is just a must, so whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or any of the new ones which are free, like DeepSeek and things like that. In fact, I would say now, like, if you don't have a large language model as your homepage, you're probably not thinking about AI the right way, because AI is just such a fantastic gap closer when it comes to, the knowledge that we don't have. And so I think, number one is, obviously a large language model would be the way that, where I would start. And then, then you can probably dive into some other things. So, which are purpose built for, I think the real question is like, where are the pain points in your business? Like, what are the things that you do repetitively over and over again that you really wish that you had an assistant or something like that to help you with? And I'll give you an example. In our business, we receive a lot of emails, and I think it's probably the same for a real estate business. And what I really want is I want someone to triage those emails into, okay, this one is a DEFCON 11 like shit bomb, if I can say that, versus this one, which is just spam, and then there's everything else in between. So it might be that as the leader of the business, I don't want, my team dealing with the DEFCON 11 email. I feel as the owner of the business, I should deal with that versus, something that is, like a low priority. So, like that's one of the things we're thinking about. I mean, from a sales point of view. So if you've got any BDMs listening, I think Crystal is an essential tool these days, like to be able to profile the people that you're meeting and, work out how to personalize things to that person. I think is a complete game changer. When I started in sales at British Telecom, back in the 90s as well, I mean, we didn't know. We had to start with an org chart and sort of work out how to approach each person in the org chart. Whereas, I think now, if I had these tools now, I would probably throw everyone's Crystal profiles into ChatGPT and say, who's the best person to deal with this person, or who's the best person to deal with that person. And that translates directly into real estate, because it might just be, that the person you send in to do a listing presentation, or the person you send in to do a maintenance call or whatever, is more likely to resonate with the personality of that client. And so I think, tools like that just give you complete unfair advantage when it comes to, dealing with people and working in property management. So they would be my top three. You need a large language model as your homepage. Crystal knows, I think, if you're in any sort of customer facing role. And now I can't even remember the third one that I said.
You said the email, and I was going to actually ask you, so what is the email? Because I definitely need that one. What is the email management tool?
Yeah, so that's an agent that we're building ourselves. So you'll be hearing, real estate agents aren't the only agents in town at the moment. Everyone's talking about AI agents as being the next wave of AI. And what that means is that these, purpose-built, let's just call them chatbots, they're purpose-built for a particular task and usually built by the company. So I'm sort of, building this chatbot myself to be able to work with us, so that all of those emails come into 6 different Slack channels, and then we can sort of, deal with them like that.
And then that would be available to the public then, or through a subscription model or something like that?
Yeah, so the underlying technology is you could use maybe something like Chatbase or N8N or something like that. If you're more technically minded, I mean, I can't help myself, so I'm always diving into something. But, there are people out there that are building chatbots. I'm actually building some chatbots for sales agents at the moment. So, things to help you write listing descriptions, things to help you with your listing presentation agenda, stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's a deeper dive into, most people that I work with are using ChatGPT. So this is the actual AI agents are a kind of deeper dive, more personalized to your business and your brand, your tone of voice. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the sky is really the limit with that sort of stuff. At the moment, another pain point for me personally, we were sort of batting this one around this morning actually, is about editorial. People send us submissions all the time, and we've got to be the bad guy. And I think there's a similar parallel in property management. So correct me if I'm wrong, is, people send us something and they'll go, can you publish this for free? And we'll look at it, and clearly it's a brand promotional thing. And so, we have to go back and say, no, I'm sorry. It's not you, it's the piece. But people think that we're just being mean by, not publishing something. But now with ChatGPT, we can say, all right, well, so where does this piece not meet the editorial guidelines, and send them back a very nice reply, and then they actually get it. And then they can sort of, come back to us with something better. And I think with property management too, it's probably the same. You probably get people making outlandish requests of you all the time. The one that I was using a lot last year was, can I please keep a horse in my backyard in Broadbeach Waters? Your general reaction when you've got all the things going on in your world is just to say, are you kidding me? No, or heck no, or whatever. But, if you're using something like a large language model, it can really help you, communicate either in the company style or tone, or in a more emotionally intelligent style and tone, or, and since even in the last 12 months, I mean, ChatGPT 4.5, they're calling that the vibe model, because it's quite emotionally intelligent. You don't even have to ask it for, can I have a response with a high EQ anymore, because it does it automatically.
That's crazy. I've just started using Claude.ai, and I've noticed its emotional responses and its language has a lot more emotion in it. And I had a couple of, emails that needed a lot of technical stuff as well as a lot of emotional stuff in there. And it absolutely, or Claude or whoever it is, absolutely nailed it, nailed the response. So I found that just mind blowing.
I think Claude, I mean, I subscribe to all of them now, like probably because I'm always testing different models for different purposes. But I would say Claude is the best writer of all of them. Like Claude is by far the smartest writer with the nicest, and because I'm a writer by trade, that's really important to me. Whereas ChatGPT is like your general practitioner, like, it's the OG and it's quite good at doing everything from producing images to, now this deep research thing is quite incredible. And then, like I always used to say, if you wanted to do research or if you wanted to sort of use the LLM more as as a search tool, I would have said Perplexity would be the one that I would use. But, I think that even today, as we record this, I don't know how long until, this one hits the airwaves, but AI have just put out this incredible image model today. So I can now drop a photo of me into ChatGPT and say, make this look like a portrait photo.
Oh, and wow.
I don't think it's got it quite right for me, but, all those old problems that it had with, putting text on images and things like that. I'm about to test a few of those actually and do a quick hurried post for my blog this afternoon. But, it's just amazing what you can do. But I do still think that, sort of going back, that there is, each large language model, it's sort of like having different employees for different tasks. And I do agree with you that Claude's way with words is the best.
Absolutely. So let's talk about research then, because I think that's an area that a lot of real estate agents probably haven't used AI. I think a lot of them are now using it for their marketing and their social media, responding to clients' emails and stuff like that. I think that's a lot of them are now starting to embrace that and realize that's a huge time saver and boost to productivity. But what about for research, and especially market research? And I guess, for me, I always look at what is the outcome of it. So the market research for me is going to set me up as the expert in my core area. So what platforms, what tools, how should we be using it for that outcome? Are you feeling overwhelmed and thinking about selling your rent roll? Don't worry, you're not alone, and HDNU is here to help. Whether you're ready to sell now or you just want to plan for the future, the friendly and approachable team at HDNU makes the process simple and stress-free. Hello, yes please. With over 30 years of expertise, they're not just about crunching the numbers. They genuinely care about helping you maximize your agency's value and get the best outcome for you. Their sales readiness bundle is like having a trusted advisor by your side. They'll work closely with you to assess your agency's key factors, create an easy to understand heat map of your strengths and opportunities, and then sit down with you for a 90-minute workshop to guide you on what to do next. They'll look at everything from rent roll earnings and rent arrears to compliance and team performance and explain it all in plain English. If you're planning to sell soon, HDNU can even handle the whole process for you, from finding qualified buyers to negotiating the deal. Their friendly, professional team takes the stress out of selling so you can feel confident every step of the way. And to get started, simply book in a meeting with the team today. Their link is in the show notes. They're here to help you move forward with confidence. Let's be real. Compliance is one of the biggest challenges in property management, and it can be overwhelming to navigate. It's time-consuming, stressful, and let's face it, one missed compliance check could lead to serious legal and financial risks, and no one wants that. That's where Sensor Insure comes in. Powered by smart sensor technology, it offers highly competitive building and landlord insurance, bundled with an ecosystem of smart safety devices. These include tamper-proof smoke alarms and water leak detectors with automated remote testing and a 24/7 accessible audit trail. Yes, you heard me right. Sensor Ensure is a game changer. It's always on and integrates seamlessly with your trust platform to streamline processes and provides live reporting across your entire rental portfolio. This ensures you're always meeting compliance requirements, giving you total peace of mind. No more waking up in the middle of the night stressed or worried that you've missed something or your team has missed something. So whether you're looking to improve your processes and efficiency, reduce stress, or protect your agency from risk, Sensor Ensure has you covered. You really should see how it works. I totally encourage you to book in a free demo today by heading to sensorglobal.com or the show notes to learn more about their solutions and how they can transform your compliance game.
Well, there's so many use cases for deep research beyond just the obvious market research. Like I would say things like a SWOT analysis, like of your competition in the local area. I would say if you're going to do any kind of content marketing, that's something I would do. A deep research prompt I ran recently is, we're relaunching our podcast soon. And so I asked ChatGPT for a relaunch plan. And what comes out of deep research is just, again, next level, because it has, I think under the hood, it's got the O3 reasoning model under the hood. And so not only does it go out into all corners of the web, but it comes back and actually sort of thinks about its responses too before it hands it over. A use case that, real estate agents really do need to know about is the operator. So that is OpenAI's agent. And what that does is if I was to say to operator right now, can you give me who are the 5 best real estate agents in Broadbeach Waters? What operator does is, I don't know if you remember the old Citrix servers of the 90s, but basically it goes out, it opens up its own web browser and it starts searching the web on your behalf. So you can go and make a cup of tea and come back in 10 minutes time. And what it does is it takes screenshots and it is able to sort of click buttons and do all that sort of thing and do that research on your behalf. And so I did a bit of a study, before this version had actually come to Australia, I installed a VPN on my computer and pretended I was sitting in America and stuff. Again, probably something I would need to publicly deny. But I was gobsmacked at who was chosen as the best agents and why they were. Everyone's been wondering how AI is going to impact SEO. And that example, which, I'll give you a link and you can link it in the show notes for everyone if you like, but it actually shows, well, we actually want to see your days on market. We actually want to see, that you've got in all the different SEO directories that you have got a standard listing in there. So it's if you're at level 3, 243 Bridge Street in one directory and you've just got 243 Bridge Street in another directory, that won't be good for the AI because they won't be able to match it up. So the AI search is actually looking for transparency across all of your platforms. It searched Instagram, it searched Facebook, it came back with all of these links and evaluated, who it thought were the best agents in Broadbeach Waters. Before it did that, importantly, it said to me, what is important to you? And, for me, I said, well, or what sort of a house do you have? And I just said, I've got $1 million house. I want someone who's a specialist in selling luxury homes. And so I think, that's a big deal now too, because how everyone likes to say, I'll help you with all of your real estate needs from, whatever it is, point A to point B. The large language model is not looking for that because the first question it asks the user is what sort of house is it and who should I look for? And so, you really need to sort of be aware of what you're specializing in and have that consistent across all platforms. So I made a bit of a list, checked it twice, and that list of things are the things that you need to start checking on your own website.
And with that, so then it would also then translate across to your bios on LinkedIn, Instagram, the same messaging across everything. So I actually listened to a YouTube actually video recently, and that it was they were talking about it's not no longer called SEO, it's called search, also which was obviously search engine optimization. It's still called search. It's they've changed it now to say search everywhere optimization, because
Yeah.
lots and lots of people are now searching, doing instead of Google searches, they're doing AI searches. And I know I find myself even doing that as well. So is there anything specific we need to be doing apart from being consistent on our messaging and who we are and what we stand for? And is there anything else that we need to be doing to make sure that we're showing up in that AI search?
Yeah, I think like I said, transparency is key. I think one thing people don't like putting up online are their prices, because obviously we all want to have a conversation about price, but one of the questions that the AI will ask the consumer is, like, how much do you charge? Now you can get around that by sort of having a price range, or you could have and I mean, behavioral science says that you probably should have a range of prices, and you know, we could go down that rabbit hole another day. But that, yeah, I think that's definitely one thing. And I think having your stats front and center as well, because that's the way that the AI wants to rank you. And if it can't find them, then you just won't make the list.
Oh my God. And you said something earlier as well, which I thought was like triggered something in me, is that, we're having this conversation today about AI, but by the time this is released in a couple of weeks' time, it could be a whole different ball game of AI, isn't it? And that's terrifying for a lot of people. So what do you say to somebody who is sitting in that fear, doesn't even want to look at AI just yet? What do you say to that agent?
I would say, well, number one, it's not going anywhere. I believe in AI like I believed in the internet back in the early 90s. So I'd say it's not going anywhere, but like I would also say it's not too late. It's not too late to sort of start getting on board. And, like the number one thing I've been telling everyone is, make it your search engine. Like that's number one, because, that will trigger a whole lot of things. But then number two is, actually sit down, work out where your day is. Like I think the easy thing is to get really overwhelmed by the sheer amount of stuff. But just because everything's on the menu doesn't mean you have to eat it. Like, you only sort of need the bit that's actually going to benefit you. And I think that's where if you just sit and think about, like, where am I slow? Where could I improve? It might be that everything's sweet. So, okay, well, then communication is a really good place to start. But I would say, I asked that question to someone the other day who's in property management. And I said, where are you, like what's annoying you? Like that's a good way to think about it. What annoys you? And she said, oh, just people asking me questions about processes. And I'm like, well, why don't we look at creating some GPTs with your processes in them so that then they can ask the GPT instead of asking you, and then getting an answer back that they could have gotten, from Chat GPT anyway. So that's about training a model as well.
Yep.
On your own processes. But I think it's personal. It is easy to sort of drown in YouTube videos and I could do this or I could do that, but just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I think it's got to be tied to a business need. And so, where are you inefficient? Where could you pick up your service? Where could you train your people better? Like it's about actually strengthening your competitive advantage rather than just, going after the shiny objects, I think.
I think that's a great way to simplify it and stop people feeling overwhelmed, is like you said, just to work out where you're annoyed, what's annoying you, who's annoying you, and
Bugging you.
how can the AI solve that problem for you? So can I maybe just get you down, and I know like you said, you're super into all this tech stuff, and I'm assuming it's a bit of a passion for you as well. It terrifies, I just seem to go down rabbit holes and then I forget where I started and come up for air and I've really achieved nothing. But can you cast your vision forward for me and let us know what where this is all heading? How do you see, and maybe make it specific for real estate businesses, because I know you're in this industry as well. What is the future kind of going to look like for us in AI?
That's such a good question. And, like I actually think, well, that none of us, our imaginations aren't big enough to see what's coming. I sort of see in the next 12 months, like, efficiencies popping up everywhere with like AI agents or chatbots. And that's very much where I'm thinking on our business. But, like, is it going to be like the Jetsons or, there might be some driverless cars on the road and stuff like that. But I think that, and I've always said this, is that, the agents that can use AI well will win the new era. And that means using AI well to do the things that AI can do, to free you up to do the things that AI can't do. And so what I see as the can't do's is the building relationships and, having real empathy with your clients and, doing all those sorts of things. If AI can free you up to do more of that, then I think that's how you win. I'm failing to see how sort of having an AI to make all your calls and things like that, I think it's all a bit of a race to trust, really. Like, trust has always been the main currency in real estate. And now we've got to worry about this AI that's sort of, calling 50 people at a time. But what if you got the AI to sort of handle the back end, the email, the accounting, the, helping you with strategy, things like that. And instead, you took more of a front and center role with the humans and sort of became, I heard it the other day from Ben White, became more of a community connector. That to me was really lovely because, I was sort of thinking that's a really positive way to look at property management for sure, rather than just thinking, oh, like the robot's going to take my job. I don't think the robot can ever take the job of someone who is in a frontline caring role. And that's how I see property management.
Amazing. That you're absolutely 100% right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, I love personal development. Can you share, I'm sure you do too, a tool, resource, book, or podcast, something that our listeners will get some growth and transformation from?
What have I? Well, I've just read the Art and Business of Online Writing by Nicholas Cole, who is my favourite YouTube person. I don't know, so if you want to learn to write, that's a really good one. I'm just thinking, like I follow all the usual people, like the Hormozis, and I think in real estate, Sharon Srivatsa is the guy to follow. Yeah, they're the people I'm into at the moment. So, but like the art of communicating and social media and all the rest of it, definitely check out Nicholas Cole.
Nicholas Cole. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And now, how can our audience connect further with you? I know you have an AI course as well. So maybe share some details, and I'll obviously share it all in the show notes as well, but just let our audience know the best place to reach out to you.
Yeah, I'm really easy to find. Like, I think I'm all over the internet everywhere, but I actually have a free AI crash course. So for those of you that are feeling a bit overwhelmed, you can find that at aicourse.eliteagent.com. It's just a little 5-day intro into AI that will help you get over the hurdle of being overwhelmed and, goes through some of the things we've talked about today. Also, you can find me via eliteagent.com, and I put out posts and things regularly on aipoweredagents.com.
Amazing. Sam, thank you so much. I have absolutely loved chatting with you and diving a bit deeper into the world of AI.
Thank you, Kylie. It's been amazing.
If you're ready to be a super organised, focused and productive property manager, buckle up, because Colmio is about to revolutionise the way that you work. Colmio is the driving force behind property management excellence in residential real estate. Now picture this. A comprehensive end-to-end system designed to be the beating heart of your property management tasks, manage your properties, owners and tenants, and handle payments, inspections, and even marketing listings without leaving the platform. Colmio is designed to be an all-in-one solution to all your property management needs. And here's the game changer. Colmio isn't just software. It's been awarded the most innovative prop tech Scale Up in 2023. Yes, you heard it right. Colmio has been recognised for their groundbreaking approach to property management software. How good is that? So property managers, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, dive into the future of property management with Colmio. You can book in a demo with the team today and go in their weekly draw for a Prezi gift card worth $100. All you need to do is to head to the link colmio.com/thatpropertymum, and Colmio is KOLMEO.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.